Character design can be one of the most fun and yet challenging parts of world building, and I know from personal experience that a lot of times I have a little bit of trouble creating interesting and, unique character designs. And so today I'm going to be giving you 5 of my own sort of tips for character design that I think are useful. And please note that these aren't going to be in any sort of order of importance or anything, just kind of the order that I feel makes the most sense. But yeah, I just want to give you guys a little bit of my own sort of unique experience or tips and tricks that I have found useful during my character design process for a lot of my characters. So I will be using some of my own characters as examples, and so yeah, I'll put pictures up of each of them while I'm explaining as well, just so that there's no confusion for anybody that's new. But yeah, anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with number 1. So for number 1 here we have background. Now that's a little bit of a broad statement, because what does that mean? Does it mean the character's background? Does it mean the background of the actual world that you're creating? Does it mean, whatever? And for me, I think that means a little bit of both of those. You need to keep in mind what this character has been through personally, and also what has been going on in the world prior to this character's sort of arc and development or whatever. For example, if you're going to be creating a world that has been torn apart due to war and stuff like that, your character's design needs to focus, or needs to reflect sort of the detrimental effects of war, and I guess kind of show what kind of things that maybe poverty-stricken from the detrimental costs of war. And so these characters are going to be wearing sort of ripped apart clothing, or just stuff like that should represent that they're not in the best situation financially, or as far as their livelihood even. So, and for my own, as for my own experience with this, with my characters, with my full world that I've created, that it's sort of just like a normal Earth. So everybody's wearing sort of normal Earth clothes, and obviously there's superheroes in it, but everybody is just kind of wearing normal stuff, because there's not really any sort of crazy big thing that's happened prior to the actual arc of my characters, or the arc of the story or whatever. And for one of my characters, specifically Matchstick, I'll put a picture up of him so that there's no confusion, as I said. He is sort of wearing these ripped clothes and sort of just plain looking things, and that's because in his backstory he's kind of been struggling financially because of his orphan status, and he's kind of been having to live on his own, and he can't really control his powers that much. So his clothes are naturally a little old and ripped apart, sort of. So yeah, so like I said, his backstory is reflected through the design of his clothing. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for number 1. Let's go ahead and hit number 2. So number 2 here is going to be personality and traits. So what I mean by that is what kind of personality do they have? How do they interact with other people, and what's their kind of are they an introvert? Are they an extrovert? Things like that. And their traits are kind of, what are they good at? What are they what is their mindset? What do they spend most of their time doing? Stuff like that, because that does, even in real life, that does influence the kind of clothes you wear. Introverts tend to goodness gracious, introverts tend to try to draw less attention to themselves, and so as an introvert myself, I know that I definitely don't try to draw attention to myself, and extroverts tend to, be a little bit more forward with themselves, and, a little more confident in the clothes that they wear. And so that needs to be something to take into consideration when drawing your character. And with their traits, you need to kind of think about like what they're going to be like wearing for whatever their passion is. So for example, my character Phoenix, who I will put a picture of, she is very good at martial arts and has kind of like, she's very good at all sorts of fighting styles and things like that. And so naturally she's going to wear something that's a little more loose fitting, that's going to give her a little bit more range of motion for flexibility and things like that. So I've drawn her wearing sort of just like a tank top and leggings and things like that. Just something that's going to allow her to be flexible and move around very quickly and be able to, you know, fight with martial arts and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely something that you need to think about and have planned out before you actually start drawing your character. So that's pretty much all I have to say for number 2. Let's move on to number 3. So for number 3 here we have setting, and specifically what about the actual physical setting of your character or of your sort of world is going to change your character's physical appearance. I have 2 examples of this of my own, 2 of my characters named Axon and Zag. Now, Axon and Zag are both native to different planets in my sort of universe that I have, and both of their planets are lower in gravity than Earth, so they're both naturally very tall. And Zag specifically has 4 arms and 6 hands. He has hands on his feet, and that's because his species is native to a planet where there are lots of mountains and lots of, you know, very, very tall, you know, natural structures. And so they need to be able to climb very well and things like that. So his species sort of has things that will allow them to adapt to that environment very well in the form of 6 hands and 4 arms. So both of them are affected by their sort of natural or normal habitat because of their setting. And so that's something that you need to consider. And if you're doing something that's sort of like you're focusing more on humans than anything that's going to be sort of from space or anything like that in the form of aliens or whatever, definitely still consider how far in the future is this? Is this going to be something where the humans have sort of changed in appearance to fit with the Earth's changing climate or things like that? Just a lot of things to keep in mind when you're designing this character and how their physical placement is going to affect their appearance. So yes, definitely consider setting before you start designing your character, and with that, I think we're ready to actually put the pencil to the paper and actually start designing this character. So yeah, let's just move on to number 4. So for number 4 here we have jot down ideas. And basically I've chosen to show you kind of my design process so you can kind of get an idea of what I mean by jotting down ideas for one of my characters that I'm kind of working on right now. And basically I wanted to show you kind of what my sort of process for jotting down my ideas is, and so you can kind of, if you're kind of new to character design, I just wanted to show you basically my sort of process for this. And so I'm creating this character that I knew previously I wanted to be sort of like a super muscular Russian guy and I knew I wanted him to be bald with a beard because that always looks really cool, at least in my opinion. But I based him off of an actor, and I can't think of his name right now, but I will throw a picture up on screen. He plays in a lot of movies such as Creed and Shang-Chi, or Shang-Chi I should say. But here I'm kind of jotting down kind of what I think this character needs to look like. So I've given him sort of like, you know, long like pants and a short sleeve shirt, just kind of, you know, just a generic thing, no sort of like superhero suit or anything like that. But then you can see me kind of drawing like different designs for maybe giving him a helmet. You can see I did a side profile of his head, just to kind of maybe use that as sort of like a thing, if I wanted to draw him in sort of a fight scene to see how I kind of like how he looks. And then I'm drawing, you can see me write down robot suit with a question mark, if you can even read my terrible handwriting. And basically what I'm doing here is just putting all my ideas onto paper for how this character looks, and I basically just take what I like the most out of each of the little ideas that I come up with for each character and put them all into one and use that as my sort of design. So that's just something I wanted to show you, and let's get on to number 5. And finally, number 5, don't get too attached to your character's design. I'm going to use the example of Phoenix again because her original design had her with brown hair, a hoodie, and some looser pants, I believe, if I'm correct. That was a long time ago, so yeah, her original design was very different from her current design with red hair, tank top, and leggings, and that's because I thought that the new design would fit just a little bit better with what I wanted her to like kind of represent, I guess. I don't really know. But yeah, definitely don't get it too attached to your like original design, because that could end up changing at any time, and you could always think, you know what, let me try this might look a little bit better. So definitely, yeah, don't get too attached. And with that is number 5, and that is all I have for you today. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have my 5 tips for designing your character, and I really hope that this helped you guys out, and please let me know, give me some of your ideas for your characters, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me them in the comments. I read every comment that I get, so I will be sure to look at yours, and if you have any questions, try my best to answer them. And yeah, so I really hope this helped you guys out with anything that you've been struggling with in your character design process. And with that, I will be out of here. So subscribe if you haven't, leave a like on the video if you liked it, a dislike if you didn't, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.